Okay, today we found out that when E3 opens its doors in June this summer, they will be welcoming in 15,000 consumers.
Yeah.
This year, they're allowing consumers to just buy
Golden tickets.
Buy tickets. They're a little pricey.
Yeah.
$250 for a regular ticket.
So for
Other
the
industry
first,
shows are really expensive. Like GDC's $1,000.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, that's
That's industry. Yeah, but I see what you're
compared to
saying.
like PAX.
Compared to a
it's
PAX,
definitely like twice
yeah.
as expensive.
I guess
Even
I'm
like-
just saying
and
that because
even
I was
like-
thinking of the panels and stuff like that.
Even like Comic-Con, I don't think is that much. Is that
Well,
right?
And so it's if you buy one of the first 1,000, you get it's $150, and then for the other 14,000, it's $250. But it's not.
You guys think those will sell out within the first minute?
I think
yeah.
in
I think
a
it's going to
minute.
be a bloodbath.
That'll be
I think
easy
they'll
to
be
sell.
gone.
Easy to sell.
I would.
It's-
All I ever wanted to do in my life was go to E3.
The interesting
I
thing
was
is
so
like
excited when E3 existed.
same 100%. I went in high school, like I went in college, like I'm here because of it. Like it meant a lot to me.
Totally.
But like it's interesting because last year they did E for All years and years ago, which kind of didn't work.
Which I don't even remember really what that was.
Yeah.
It was sort of a.
I wasn't working in the industry at the time.
I think I don't super recall either, but I believe the idea was just sort of a hybrid of what they're doing this year with what they did last year, which was sort of just making it more of a big public-facing event. And so what they did last year was called E3 Live, and that 20,000 people went to. It was free, and it was just like a big. Kind of seemed like a mess. It was just a
It was
big
next door to the convention center.
at LA Live, and just a big open outdoor area, and they built like a 70-foot tall concert stage, and they had like
Big
a few,
Titanfall robot.
yeah, and they had like a few kiosks for games, but it didn't seem
I
organized.
think Mixmaster Mike played a show there.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, how did I miss that?
70 feet above the crowd. But like this year, it's you go to the show itself, the show floor where all the booths are. They haven't said press conferences or anything, but you'll be like in the big public areas or the big open areas, I should say, where like people build the big extravagant booths and where you can play games. And then they're doing some kind of companion thing with like what sounds like panels, which sounds like Jeff Keighley talking to industry personalities and making it an E3 branded thing.
Okay.
That's kind of like the big picture of what this is, I guess.
So I think this is awesome news for people who want to go to E3. E3 is a blast. My holdup is that it's already like the Zelda lines last year for people in the press and people in the industry were like 2 hours. So I can't even imagine.
I think they sold out. They gave away all of their passes before the show floor opened some days, other than the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, because like we have
they didn't
exhibitor
come back.
badges.
It was
like we can
crazy.
go in early, and I remember coming in, at whatever 9:30 before the show floor opens at 10, and the line was already at the point where it said it was going to be 2 hours.
And we're
long.
not saying we're worried about the lines being long for us. We're
No,
saying
no,
not
for
at all.
you.
Yeah,
We're
for
just
you
saying-
You're
guys.
thinking
Yeah.
about going to E3, be aware that I've had to wait in line. Like
Yeah.
the lines are insane.
Yeah.
Like some people probably go for 3 days and play 6 games total.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
that's how long
But that's
you have
like,
to wait.
to be fair, PAX is like that too now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And
if you've been to a PAX, you
and
might
you'd
be
be
used to
You'd
it,
be
yeah.
ready for that.
That's the thing. Like I think it's always interesting seeing what you prioritize because like when I would go to these shows as fans, if I went to PAX, I would think of it as like, okay, I'm gonna get to play 2 games today. Like realistically,
Okay, yeah.
if I wait in line here, this game comes out in a month. If I wait in line here, that game's not out till next year.
Right.
So I'm like, and that's kind of how I would prioritize it. So I don't know. Like for me, when given that choice, even for us, if I can only play a finite number of games, I try and go for the ones that are the furthest away.
Yeah, and I mean, you tell a gamer like you can play a game in a year, and he'll want to play it today.
Yeah.
Like there's something really special about that.
Yep.
But I think I grew up looking at Nintendo Powers and EGMs that had pictures of E3, and I'm like, that looks like the coolest thing in the world. And I go every year, and I still think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I absolutely love
It's
it.
Disneyland level
Yeah.
builds
Yes.
for the exhibit. So there's
so
like
cool.
castles and cities and just
Mm-hmm.
awesome stuff. I mean, the Nintendo booth last year, I'm sure everybody's seen.
Yeah.
All the booths are like that. They're all crazy. Some of them are like just so over the top. Like Disney would do like an outdoor patio.
Yeah.
It was like gazebos and trees and
you see-
street lights and
Did you
stuff.
see what 2K did for Mafia
Yeah,
last
they
year?
built like the French Quarter basically.
They built the French Quarter.
Yeah.
Like they built like
Yep.
this 2-block street.
and I think this will encourage it to be even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what's so cool. I think it's sort of like I think opening to the public is awesome because it almost feels wasted to do that for a bunch of stuffy dudes in business suits. Like
Yeah.
I love the idea of bringing the energy of a PAX or a PSX to E3 because E3 for me is Christmas. Like it's when like you get to PSX, you get to PAX, and there are a lot of things that have been announced that we're getting a second look at or a first hands-on of a game we've known about for 6 months. But E3 is unique in that like almost every game there is something that we didn't know existed until we got to the show.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Like that's such a cool feeling. And I'm excited that 15,000 people get to feel that and see that.
The interesting thing is that E3 was a public show for a while, and then it went quiet and went private, and then moved around, and then it's basically just been industry only. But the amount of time in those years between when it was open to the public and to now when it's reopened to the public, hundreds of different trade shows have popped up all over the world. So if you can't make it to E3, chances are there's a PAX near you, or there's a Comic-Con.
Doesn't
or Paris Games
Gamescom
Week.
always have like the same stuff from E3?
So a lot of people
Mostly,
take
yeah.
their
Like, sometimes they move the booth.
Yeah, they move their stuff
Yeah.
from place to
They
place.
ship it over there.
You won't get to see the exact layout that Nintendo had for the Zelda booth at E3, but they're taking parts of it and they're moving it all over the place. So I think that's really cool. Like, I mean, we got an invite. I got a My Nintendo invite that's set up to my like personal account to place the Switch in San Francisco at the end of the month because they're doing some sort of national tour thing. We got to play Nintendo Switch at this like Zelda puzzle room thing last week. Like these opportunities pop up all over the place now. It's not just like
Even Best Buys during E3 have
Yeah.
had new Nintendo games for the last couple of
it's
years.
kind of cool where it's like it's not E3 is that mecca, but there are tiny little versions of it all over throughout the year. So
Yeah, and I think it's funny because like so E3 had about 50,000 people last year, so this theoretically makes 65,000 or so, which is still about the same size or even smaller than a PAX.
Yeah.
So it's like this is still going to be
Is that
a
the
pretty
case, really?
small.
Yeah.
Like a PAX, I think is like maybe 10,000 more than that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's a limited
like
amount. Yeah.
Gamescom is 350,000 people. It's insane. Like that's untouchable. I think.
BGS is like 125,000.
Yeah, exactly. So this will still feel fairly intimate. So it's like
I feel like E3's been kind of dwindling, not in people attendance, but publisher attendance.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I know it has too because we report on that, but there's inns of the halls which are just kind of sad and empty.
Yeah.
now.
Or army
that was
recruitment booths and
never
stuff.
like that before.
Yeah.
And again, I hope stuff like this can make E3 kind of fill out again.
yeah,
Well,
I
it's-
agree.
It's, times have certainly changed since E3 started. When E3 started in 1995, the purpose of that show was to sell games to retailers, to get retailers to order games for the holiday season. And then they would also let the press in to inform their readers about what's coming out. But me, an EGM reader, wouldn't find out that information for months later until
Yeah.
that issue was published. So
Yeah.
it was all about courting those retailers.
Nintendo had a Virtual Boy booth at the first E3.
Yep.
But like last holiday season, 60% of EA's business was digital.
Yeah.
So it's like that need to sell games to retailers is not as important as
And
it
we've
used to
seen
be.
those retailer guys at E3 before, and it's strange. It's just like a guy in like a nice business suit, and he's tall and
They're taking all
handsome.
these meetings.
And he's just walking in. He's like, I think that Skyrim is going to be big because that dragon is big. And you're like, oh,
and that's
all
what
right, weird
the
math.
the GameStop manager show is that.
Yep.
It's a stage presence, and then there's these things called classrooms, which are like these little tiny rooms where you sit down and make like essentially a little. It feels like a Coco presentation that you would do to like a small group where you're just like, hey everybody, here's what our game is, and you have like
Yep.
your 10-minute thing.
Coco is our internal content conference that we've had in the past where we brainstormed what we wanted to do.
So-
a roadmap.
Wait,
for the
they
year.
don't have Cocos?
Yeah, sorry.
Why don't we call it ConCon?
We're
I like on.
cuckoo for Coco. I think this is a cool
Cont.
opportunity that, like that stuff's to the side where E3, this kind of lets it reshape what it is. Because I think like the retailer stuff isn't as relevant as it was, and there's separate conferences for that now. I think the press still gets to go, but this lets it become a whole different event, and maybe that will bring back, like EA has their own event now. They have EA Play. Activision doesn't do a booth. Disney, before they stopped making games, they pulled out of having a booth. Like, we're seeing fewer publishers go, maybe this brings them back.
Yeah.
Maybe this makes it so that E3 is the one-stop shop again for a little bit of everyone.
I hope so, because otherwise you're spending $250 to go see a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like I hope it gets filled out. I
We'll
hope
have
they
a booth.
pack to the walls.
Yeah,
We will.
we'll
So
do
quick
both.
tips for any of our viewers, listeners that do get tickets. The show floor is open 2.5 days, basically. The first day opens at noon, and people line up right outside the doors early in the morning. So you want to get there early so you can get in.
Yeah, definitely get there early.
Early birds will get
Bring
first place
bring
in
a
line.
parasol because it's sunny in LA.
Yeah. And if you're in, our booth is in the West Hall. Is that right?
Yeah.
West Hall? Right as you walk in the
That's
front
the
door.
good hall.
Right
That's
as you
the
walk
good
in the front
entrance to the
door.
good hall.
On your left is the IGN booth. It's the same hall as Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft.
Yeah,
They're
we're
all
kind of
there
right in
that same
between those.
booth.
It's a great location.
Yeah.
We love being there to
Yeah.
be able to see all this stuff.
It's
Yeah.
so
awesome.
God. I love
Definitely
that.
come by and say hi. We'll be doing the IGN live
Our
show.
carpet
Yeah.
is really comfortable.
Yep.
Your feet are gonna hurt after walking around E3, and a lot of the booths have this nice padding and then a carpet. It's so nice.
I
to
love
walk in there.
when
and
you
stand.
Sony's
come
really
out of
good at
our
that
booth.
too.
The last couple of years when you've come out of our booth, you turn your head right, and there's this hallway between Sony and Microsoft that's like blue on one side, green on
It's
the other.
so cool.
It's
Yeah.
great for photos.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really cool.
I have
spot.
another tip. Don't use the bathrooms by our booth because those are insane.
Go upstairs.
Actually,
you can
the
go,
ones
there's
right by our
lots
booth,
of other ones.
I don't think are that bad because there's like like
They're bad
20. There's like
comparatively.
20 stalls in there. That
Yeah, it's a huge bathroom. But you go to the if you just go behind the scenes at E3, which you can walk anywhere in this giant convention center, there's like giant restrooms with nobody in them. It's really scary.
The pro tip is go outside, walk to the JW Marriott, go there, and then get yourself some Starbucks and walk back to the convention center.
Yeah, I thought you were just gonna go outside and just pee wherever you want. It's downtown LA. You can get away with that. There's no cops.
I mean, that's probably true.
That's another thing. If you're going to stay in LA, stay maybe in the numbered streets right near the convention center. It's
Yeah.
a really, really convenient place. There's lots of Airbnbs there.
There was that year.
Don't stay in Skid Row.
It was probably 2008, maybe. The
Yeah.
year we just saw a naked dude just walking down the street.
Yeah, just having a good day.
Yeah, there's some
And
rough
today,
areas.
Marty's
of town
the
right by
senior
you.
editor at IGN.
Also, Little Tokyo. It's right downtown
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
So
Yep.
you can stay in a cool Japanese hotel and
That's true.
go to E3.
Yep.